Okay. So good morning, everybody. We'll get started, and then I'll allow questions anytime during my presentation. So welcome to the Vernon Business Breakfast meeting. It's really important to the city to communicate to the businesses and have some sort of communication process. And I think this is going to be a great tool for us to get our word out to the business community. So on our agenda today, are you going to do the screen? Is it going to go slide by slide or do I? Okay. So this is our agenda today. And again, it's open for discussion. I'd like to talk about some of the plans that we have. Obviously we want to talk about the Project West Side today, the economic development of the city, the public safety parcel tax, and getting involved and serving on the city board and business community events. So we'll go to the next slide, which is the Project West Side. So interesting, we've received a lot of feedback on Project West Side, good and bad, and we're looking for feedback on both ends, right? We want to hear what the businesses have to say. We want to hear what the residents have to say. Obviously, the residents have their point of view, and the businesses have their point of view. But we want to really look at how the city is going to migrate over the next 10 to 15 to 20 years. The city has to grow its population for several reasons. Federal and state per capita funding is one of the reasons. The voting population is large enough that it cannot be so easily manipulated. So, good morning, welcome, come on in. No worries. So let's talk about that for a second. We want to make sure that we're able to grow our population in a way that the voters cannot be manipulated in any specific way. And I think it's important for Vernon's future. And that is by growing its population, right? But we have to be careful on how we grow the population. We have to be cognizant that this is a city that has special needs for business industry. And we have to be cognizant of that and how we're going to migrate residents into the business plan. So for many business owners, you're like, well, we really don't want residents here, right? We want to be able to do our industry. We want to be able to do our thing. And we don't have to really worry about the residents. And from the city's perspective, we want to be able to cater to the residents as well, but have a niche in the community where we can grow our population. So we need a large enough population to provide suitable candidates for council. This is important. I think the numbers right now, as I speak, we've seen anywhere from 60 to 100 people show up for elections over the last couple of years. And of the 60 to 100, maybe we have 10 candidates in the future, would you say? If we're being generous, maybe. And it's just, it's a growing concern for us. So we got to make sure that we have candidates that can step up and run for city council and help govern this into the future. So think about that. If we don't have the candidates to run the city, then we need to take a step back and really look at how the city is going to function in 10 to 15 years. So we have several different ideas on how Project Westside can help us with that transition. and growing that candidate pool. The city is also leveraging its location adjacent to the Arts District in downtown Los Angeles to drive and rezone and introduce new housing developments and increase the residential population. And the city is also pursuing activities that will bring art, culture, and sophistication to Vernon. Hopefully by the end of the year, you're going to see the Vernon Gateway Arch. So when you're coming down the bridge off of Santa Fe and you're heading southbound on Santa Fe, we will have a welcome City of Vernon arch that we hopefully will have in place by the end of maybe the end of this year, maybe start of next year, but we hope to have that soon. Questions about Project Westside before I go on to the next slide? Concerns? I know you got some concerns. So, and again, we have different meetings in place, and we need to do a really good job of communicating when those meetings are. We try to put them online so that you don't have to show up at City Hall. You can participate from home or from the office or wherever you're at. But it's important that we get participation both good, with good comments and bad comments, whatever those comments are, so that we can inject that into the discussion with City Council and inject that with the business community as well and the residents. Yes, do you have a question? I'll repeat her question. Okay, go ahead.
In case there are people on Zoom, just wanted to myself, but could you share where the West Side project is right now, the advisory committee, the purpose, that it was the collective effort that's on that, sitting on that advisory board, kind of where the program is right now, project?
You want to give a complete update on that, or where we are, or? So I can give you really general where we're at right now, and then I'll turn it over to Angela. But basically, we have a committee in place that we meet regularly with, and we discuss items of importance with the group. We're in the process of doing the EIR. We're in the process of moving forward with kind of outlining how this is all going to play out, and then we hope to go to City Council with information very soon and meet with the council members and meet with the city businesses and residents, giving them opportunity to talk about the EIR and the process of getting the city rezoned. So all in all, I think we're looking at sometime in October before we're able to move forward. If you look at it, we're in May, so we got a couple of months before October. But I want to make sure that we give ample opportunity for people to comment on specifics or how it impacts, this may impact their business, right? You may be on the west side of Vernon and you're like, wait a minute, I don't necessarily want, residents next to my business. So we want to give the opportunity to different businesses to comment and come up with different ideas. But all in all, we have different meetings scheduled over the course of the next couple of months. And we hope to have this in front of council by October.
And then this Thursday, Project Westside is going to discuss meeting, and then also the EIR.
Yeah, the stakeholder meeting will be this Thursday. And, oddly enough, when we talk to new businesses coming in and we tell them about what we're doing with Project Westside, a lot of them are like, oh my God, that's a great idea. We really like the idea, but we also understand that idea, it may not, it might not fester well with other businesses. And so we just want to hear information. We want to hear topics of discussion from the business community so that we can make it an educated decision on how we're going to move forward. All right. Any other questions?
And for those attending on Zoom, please use the raise hand feature if you'd like to ask a question.
And the the committee is made up of different members of the community. You have land, you have business owners, you have residents. I think you have a council member. You have the consultants and so forth. That's the advisory committee right now that's being put together. So, okay, so we'll go to the next slide. It's true that Vernon welcomes large scale manufacturing operations and the like, but it also does much more. Vernon is proud to welcome all types of businesses and consistently aims to offer the highest level of service in our one-stop shop. Is efficient, expedient, and convenient in true definition of business friendly. So again, obviously you've heard me say this before and I'll say it again. Our mission here is to serve this community, period. We're here to serve the community. I drive around the city of Los Angeles. I drive around the city of Burbank, Glendale, Pasadena. I look at other communities, Santa Clarita, and I'm always thinking, how can they better serve their community? Just like I drive around Vernon, and I'm always looking at what can we do to make business better here, right? And so as the city administrator, I want to make sure that I get the message across to our employees and to, and to the businesses that we're here to help you. We're here to make you successful. Without us here to give the services that you need, this is for nothing. If you're not competitive here in Vernon and we're not offering the services, you're going to leave. We understand that. So obviously we want to give you that competitive advantage here in Vernon. And we want to give you the service that you need. But if you're a business and you come in and you can't get your permits, if you're a business and your electricity is going off, all the time and it's not reliable, or your water is having issues, or you're not getting your natural gas, or your streets are filthy, it doesn't serve us, right? It doesn't serve us. It serves you. So we are the public servants. We're here to help you. We're looking at different ways of making sure that we can address those needs and keep you competitive, period. Keep you competitive. We're not here to line anybody's pockets. We're here to ensure that we take what we need and provide that service to the business community. So the target of economic development is clean commerce. Okay, obviously data centers are something that we're looking at doing in the near future. And it's also aligned with Project Westside. So if you're not familiar with what a data center is, it's basically a facility that houses server farms. And these server farms basically take the information from, let's say, from different applications you may use. Like you guys are all familiar with like Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and all those. Well, that takes a tremendous amount of power in order to store the information and get that information out. And our location to the Wilshire district makes it very attractive for Vernon. And then if you look over to your left, and I know that the individuals on Zoom can't see it, but we've committed our utility to have the lowest electrical rates by the year 2030. Okay. This is the type of things that are going to drive these data centers here to Vernon. And we understand that they're going to bring a tremendous amount of demand on our electrical system. But we also know that they're going to be able to help supplement some of the issues that we have on the general fund, and also ease some of the tax burdens on the business community. So we're working hand in hand right now. I'm proud to say, and that I think we'll be breaking ground by July with our first data center. Cross our fingers, cross everything, and hopefully by July we're gonna be breaking ground on our first data center here in Vernon. So I'm excited about that, and that's going to bring tremendous opportunity for the Vernon business community. Any questions on that? No? Okay. All right, we'll go with the Next slide. So the city's interested in supporting your operation. Please provide us with your contact information, and we'll keep you advised of business community events that may interest you, like job fairs. I can't believe how much interest we got from the job fair. There was like tremendous amount of support that we received from the business community. And then when they got here, like, we need to do another one. We got to do this again. And people were coming off the streets and basically being hired right there on the spot at our job fair, which was incredible. So we have a lot of businesses that are interested in doing that again, and we're going to facilitate that hopefully on a biannual basis, or what are we looking at?
Well, next one is
June 23rd is our next job fair here in Vernon. And if you're not familiar with what that, we basically bring in businesses from Vernon and we set them up on the front lawn, and they have their HR departments, and we basically they introduce what kind of jobs they have for each type of business, and people come off the streets and they apply right there, and they look to see what's suitable for them. So we are our obligation is to help the businesses be successful. We support you. We support the business to be successful. And we can't do that if we don't have the information, right? They say information is king. Without information and without knowledge, then we're not here to make you successful. We're here to help you be successful, right? So information is huge. So the more feedback that we can get from the customers and in meetings like this, or things that we can do to help you be successful, is what we're asking for. Help us help you. So if you do have information, or if you have we're looking for desirable lots here in the city for data centers or parcels, please let us know so that we can get that information pushed on. And there is an email site, which is the economic development at cityofvernon.org. And we can get that information to all the customers. All right, we'll go to the next slide. Any questions on that before I move on?
actually, if I could just jump in.
Sure.
So we're expanding our economic development efforts. We are looking to provide more services for the businesses, like the job fair, like trade fairs, the trade events that we've done in the past. Problem is, we don't have the contact information. At the job fair, I think we had accurate emails for about 50 people within all of the businesses in the city of Vernon, right? We got so many bounce backs. So what, part of your registration today involved kind of a detailed survey of contact information for different departments, different businesses. We're going to continue to push this effort out, asking for your contact information, so that we can target our communications directly to the people in our businesses and continue to provide services and support. So you'll see a lot of emails and outreach from us asking for contacts within your businesses, just to support the services that we.
Yeah, and think about it. It's hard because as a city, we want to get information out to our community. But think about it, when you're at home, when you're at work and you're looking at your email, and oh my God, spam, 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 delete, 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 delete. You get all these emails from everybody, and sometimes we miss the boat. We're not able to get that information out to the businesses. So we need to be creative, and that's why we're doing things like this today, so that we can get information out to you, out to the business community, so that we know how to reach you, how to get that information across, because it's important. So sometimes putting a flyer in an envelope with your utility bill, that flyer basically they look at it, it's okay, and that's how it goes. So they don't really look at what's going on with the city. So we want to make sure that we find a way to communicate with our business community. All right, we'll go to fiscal stability. My favorite topic. So in the past, I'm going to go through some of these measures that we did get approved. Measure R which was the user utility tax in 2018. Vernon voters passed a 5% commercial utility user tax to increase electric, gas, and video telecommunications, water services, and sustain the general fund. If you remember back to the UUT, your electric transfer was embedded in the rates. And what we did is we took that and we moved it over to a user utility tax, and we gave you a 5% credit, right? So, and we also told you that over the next couple of years that user utility tax would stay in place, but the credit would go away and that we would move forward. But we would aim to get to the lowest rates in California by the year 2030. And we're on target, we're on pace. I'm proud to say that. And we've taken different steps to ensure that. I know that you've heard in the past of what's going on with electricity, and even recently in the news, about power outages and blackouts, and that the grid is unsustainable with just too many natural resources, and there's not reliable, efficient resources on the grid. We went out and we secured our own power plant here. We bought our power plant back. I can tell you that the deal was amazing because of the timing with the interest rates, right? So if we were to do the deal today, we couldn't do it because of the way the interest rates have moved. So timing was huge. But Measure R was in place in order to do that transfer. And it was a transfer of the embedded rate for the general fund transfer. It was already embedded in your rates. All we did was moved it from one bucket to another. So we didn't ask for more money. We gave you the credit. We just moved it over. And then we told you as rate increases would go over the next couple of years, we would take that away and we would raise rates as we needed over the next couple of years. And we were also trying to project and give you what to expect over the next couple of years as far as rate increases. That doesn't mean that come 2030 that all rate increases will stop. Our goal is to have the lowest rates in California, period. And we will hit that. We will hit that mark. And if it means that the utility has to go back and give back rebates or reduce rates, then we will have to evaluate that as time goes on. But I can tell you as of right now, there is a sunset on the user utility tax in 2028. And the city is going to need to go back and make sure that that sunset doesn't expire and keeps on going, because that's what sustains the general fund. And we don't want to go back to doing transfers from the utility. So what was happening before, and if you look at other utilities, is they basically take the ability of raising rates and they put it into the city council's hands, but also gives the ability for city council to raise the rates and then transfer the money out. We don't want that. We want to have projections, we want to have stability, and we want to know, okay, just because the rates are met, we want to make sure that whatever the cost of service for the utility, that we meet those costs of service and that we provide the lowest rates. The sales tax measure, which was passed in 2020, voters passed the measure adding transaction rate of 70.75 cents. So any transactions done in Vernon would add the 0.75, and it's approximately added about $7 million of revenue to the general fund, to the good. So we're seeing tremendous support from that sales tax measure here in Vernon. We also looked at the transition of LA County Fire, and we anticipated a net savings of $75 million over the next 10 years. It looks like right now we're going to exceed that $75 million projection, but there was things that, that are uncontrollable. For example, the OPEB liability, which is basically the pension cost for the firefighters. We're on the hook for that now, since they're gone and moved on. we're still on the hook for that pension liability. So we have to account for that every year, and that pension liability will decrease over time. We were looking at doing a pension obligation bond to try to buy down some of the payments that we have ongoing with pension liabilities. But because of the way the market conditions are right now, it's not favorable for us to get into the market and do the bond. So we're going to hold off on that. You want to add anything to that, Scott? So yeah, Scott's saying that we will revisit it over the next year and a half. But as of right now, the markets just aren't favorable for Vernon to move forward. So, and then lastly, we did the acquisition of the MGS power plant. So if anybody wants to come see the power plant, or if you're interested, call my office. We'll take you down there. We'll show you what's going on. But basically, we took on the power plant. We acquired it in December. It's 138 megawatts total that we've accumulated. We have that in our portfolio, and some amazing things are going to be happening over the next couple of months, which we will share with the public. Right now, I could just tell you that we projected to save over $10 million by doing the deal. We're going to go way north of that $10 million based on on what's going on right now with the markets. So really excited about what the utility and what VPU is doing to ensure that we get to that goal of getting the lowest rates by 2030. And I'm confident that we're going to get there. Any questions on those? Okay, we'll go to the next slide. So one of the taxes that we had in place that's going to be sunsetting, which will be in 2023, is the public safety parcel tax. So Vernon's hard work over the last several years has led to its current position. The city has a long way to go. However, COVID-19 taught us that we must be prepared for unforeseen emergencies, and that the general fund reserves are a key factor for long-term sustainability. Additionally, we realize that the public safety has become a greater concern in recent times as our police personnel are working to manage a large population of unhoused individuals. To build its cash reserves and maintain or elevate existing city services and continue its infrastructure investments to secure the future, the city must consistently be thinking about its revenue streams. And until any residential population increases, the city will continue to be plagued with minimal funding from the state. So let's talk about our police department and the impacts and the public safety tax, okay? Understanding that we get minimal money from the state of California when it comes to public safety, understanding that we get minimal transaction money on property taxes and on different measures that are passed because of our residential population, Vernon is at a disadvantage. Okay, disadvantage. So we, as the city, work closely with the police chief to ensure that we are able to provide the highest quality service with our police department. But understanding that we just can't go out and put 50 officers in the street. We're a small city, we're only 5 square miles, and we have what's called a minimum deployment on any given shift. So the chief has been tasked with making sure that he manages his budget with what is given to him every single year. So he has a minimum deployment that he basically puts in place and that he executes on a day-to-day basis, right? That's his job, is to manage the police department. I could tell you that a lot of businesses, especially during the day, they use the police department a lot. And when it comes at nighttime, you could shoot a cannonball down Santa Fe Boulevard, or you could shoot a cannonball down Soto. You wouldn't hit a car. But that's when a lot of the crime happens, is at night, when a lot of these businesses, shut down and leave. So our minimum deployments are important because we want to make sure that we have officers on hand to handle any type of incidents and issues that we have. understanding that this tax originally was designed to tax a certain and target a certain business that necessarily didn't meet the criteria of like a warehouse. So it's not a large tax per se. It brings about $2.5 million of revenue to the city every single year. But we think that right now it's important to continue that until we can get to our goal. And taking away from that would basically hamper some of the ability that we would have as a police department to ensure that we have the services for the businesses. So, do we need more police officers? Yes. Do we want to pay for more police officers? No. Do we want high level of service? Yes. And we get that high level of service. I mean, our response times here in Vernon, Chief, are what right now? So a priority one call, if you have a priority one call, you'll have a response at your location within 3.5 minutes. You'll have a Vernon police officer. And priority one, Chief, for the business community. So we're committed to making sure that we can get someone to your location within 3.5 minutes. And I think for the most part, it's less than 3.5 minutes, given the where we are in the city. At night, those times probably increase because there's less traffic and we're able to get to the location much faster. So this is a discussion topic that I think it's important to have with the business community. We're going to have this tomorrow. What type of level of service do you want as a business community? And what's your appetite on a tax over the next couple of years? I'm not saying that this tax has to stay in place forever or in perpetuity, but I'm saying that we have a goal. We want to meet our goal. And this is a small portion of that goal in order to put the pieces of the puzzle together. Is there an appetite to bring in more police officers? Do we want to have more police officers on the shift? Right now, we have a minimum deployment of 3 officers and a sergeant on any given shift, meaning that's the minimum officers that you'll have in the streets in Vernon at any given time. And for the most part, they can respond to all types of calls during the day because you do have command staff here, which would be your lieutenants. You do have your a captain and a chief on hand, which you can also support. And then you also have your detective bureau, which can support during the day. At night, that's when that diminishes and you're basically left with what's here at the station. And then you have the surrounding community, which we do reach out at times, Chief, to Huntington Park, or we do reach out to LAPD for assistance if need be. So what's the appetite of the business community? Is this something that the community, really wants? I know that when we went through this through fire, the fear was we're not going to get the same level of service with the fire department, with an LA County Fire Department, that we will with our Vernon firefighters. And I think we've disproved that theory. I think our level of service is tremendous with LA County Fire. And they've been tremendously responsive to community needs. And I could tell you, like, middle of the night, I get calls from the battalion chief. Hey, we're on this scene. We're in this incident. This is what's going on. And I get updated all the time from LA County Fire. They're able to bring in a tremendous amount of resources into the city quickly, where we weren't able to do that necessarily in the past. With our police department, it's a little bit different. We want a home-based Vernon Police Department because this is their home. This is what they're here to protect and to serve this community. So we understand that it is important. What we're asking for is not an increase to the parcel tax, other than whatever the cost of living increases are built into that, but basically to keep that in place And the duration, we're not sure yet. That's something that we want to discuss. Maybe we have some ideas here in the crowd, or people on Zoom can chime in on that. But we want to hear your feedback. That's why we're here doing this today. And then tomorrow we do have the BIC, which will also be discussing this. And it'll be the first time that it gets presented to the BIC, which is the Business Industrial Commission. And they'll be able to listen to what we have going on with the parcel tax and give feedback, and hopefully give feedback to the city staff so that we can take that and move on. So I'm open. I would love to hear if anybody has any ideas or concerns. Yeah. It started in 2013. Yeah.
One, the city of Vernon PD is, I agree, we want to always keep our home PD. It has probably a little bit different capital requirements than fire. So fire department made a lot of sense fiscally, and now it sounds operationally fantastic. One of the things that I'm thinking, since you're saving $7 million in the fire a year, 75 over 10 years, and $7 million a year, based on the good prudent stewardship you guys have had fiscally, I think maybe extend it, but maybe even reduce it. Just from the standpoint of, you guys are doing a really great job. And I think that's a recognition of a great job. And I'm not talking about a significant reduction, more of a symbolic reduction, because I think folks would, one, they would acknowledge you guys are doing a great job fiscally. Two, I think everybody would double down. Yes, Vernon PD, we want to keep. And see if we could potentially, because security is very important to everybody right now, throughout, more so now in the last 39 years in Vernon, it seems, based on the outside world. So that's my only comment. But I think, recognize the savings, but not all of them, and just show that's continued good stewardship.
Great. I appreciate the feedback. I will tell you that I'm just amazed. I'm not amazed, but the last 18 months, we've seen and just a tremendous amount of activity at night with just in the city facilities, theft of wire and cable and vehicles, and businesses are also experiencing that as well. So I appreciate the comment, and we will go back and discuss it. And that's the type of comments that we want. We want to go back and let it marinate with staff and see what we can do to assist that. But yes, I mean, these are all things that we're looking at, and supplementing what Vernon has been doing also is supplementing the Vernon Police Department also with VPU. They supplement it with their security services. They have a guard that goes around and basically looks, because you have other things, but you can't expect Vernon Police Department to be at your business 24/7 in front of your door watching what's going on, right? So that's why we are supplementing some of our hot areas with security, and they do a tremendous job. They get on the radio, or they call the phone, on the phone, they call the police department, and police department's there in a second. But yes, well, that's something that we will go back and we will look at and see if it's something we can do. Any other comments on the public safety? Yes.
Good morning.
Morning.
We've been hit very hard the past couple of years with theft. We have a yard, pretty large yard with trucks, and they came in and took all the catalytic converters. So what we did is we found a company that has an electric fence, and we put it on. But about a year ago, when LA County took over, they stopped by our shop, and they said that no more electric fences. It's the only way I've been able to keep out thieves from going into my yard. But now they're telling us no more. Why is that? I mean, they told us because of liability, But what about us as business owners? How do we protect our equipment, our customers' trucks when we can't protect ourselves? I had a fence that's like almost 20 feet high. They chopped it down. They came in like 3 times. And the electric fence is the only thing that stopped them from coming in, because they can come in. So what we're trying to do is keep them out. Because once they're in, even though I have like 30 cameras and we saw them, but nobody recognizes them.
Mhm.
The police said, do you know who that is? No, then we can't go after them, which I understand. But the thing is that we can't, the thing that's keeping them out is our electric fence. But now they told us that apparently we're the only ones in the city that have it. And they told us that the new chief would not allow more electric fences in the area or in the city. And I have other customers that come to us that are in Vernon, and they're very interested in the fence. Some people that driving by, they stop by and ask, information on the fence. And then they come back and they tell me I couldn't do it.
What company?
Pacific Commercial Truck Body right here in Fruitland.
Okay. Can I ask you a stupid question? Is there an ability for the fire department to turn off the electric fence
Yes.
before they enter the facility?
Yes. Yeah, our fence was permitted with plans, everything.
Through the city?
Through the city, yes.
Okay. Can you reach out to my office and we will work with you on that?
Sure.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, reach out to my office and we'll sit down and we'll come up with a solution. Because that's pretty good idea.
It's a very good deterrent. Just the sign alone.
Yeah. And how does it work? Just curious.
I get to the shop, I open up, I have a keypad, I turn it off, and I open my gate. The system is off throughout our working hours. When I go home or wherever, close to the shop, we put it up again, and that's it.
If someone's walking on the sidewalk and they touch the fence,
You can't, because there's a mesh, they can stick their hand in.
oh,
And it's a mesh, it was required by the city to have that.
okay.
But I mean, nobody has a business sticking their hands in there at all.
Right.
But if they do, we have the mesh, and it's accessible to the police, to the fire department. It's monitored 24 hours, or once it's set, it's armed, it's monitored. If it gets a detection that somebody touched it, I get notified, and then they ask me, do you want us to deploy or not? Not that long ago, one of those metallic balloons was hitting our fence. Luckily, I had a camera. I saw it. I told the
Damn
dispatcher,
metallic balloons.
don't worry about it. It's
I
a
hate them.
big balloon. Yeah, exactly. Is now I get it why the electric company hates them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it stopped all our theft. I
Okay.
mean, it's a very good deterrent. Just the sign alone, it says caution, electric fence.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Let me work with you and we'll come up with a solution. So after the meeting, we'll get your contact information and we'll work together. Yes.
Thank you. We had a catalytic converter stolen from our property as well, but the police tracked the people down by using cameras, license plate cameras. Why can't we have more put up?
It's a great question. In our proposed budget that is going to take effect in July, I stumbled on a new company. We do have license plate readers mounted throughout the city, but they're kind of prehistoric at this point. Technology is changing so quickly. So there's a new company, and I was going to bring this up as this kind of unfolds, but there's a new company called Flock Safety, and I'm not pitching them, and I don't work for them, and I make no money on this. So just for full disclosure, but their license plate reader cameras are awesome. So the current version of the license plate reader cameras that we have now only read license plates. So if we pick up the plate, we can search it. This new license plate reader system that we're gonna purchase a few of them to start mounting them, to test them out, get kind of proof of concept, and then we'll bring it to the businesses if they want to partner with the PD. We can almost like a Google search. We can look up a sticker on the car, a color of a bumper, a vehicle make. It's amazing what they capture. So we're going to purchase a few of them. The PD is, we're going to mount them, see how they work. And if they work well, we'll bring it to the businesses and see if they want to partner with the police department. Just in concept, you lease the equipment, you don't own it, you lease it from this company, they mount it, they come out, they mount it, it's solar powered, so they don't need to hook up to your power. And when you don't want it anymore, they come take it away from you. So you'll own the camera, you'll lease it and you'll own it, and you'll give us the ability to go in and access that data. So we're looking at trying to expand our camera system because it's a great tool. We use it all the time right now, but we can be better. So we're looking at doing that. Great question.
Okay, yes.
I just want to say before, just thank you so much for doing this for the business community and for just the transparency and having these discussions. I really appreciate it. We've come a long way and it's just very refreshing. And I want to kind of go back to the parcel tax and just simply for discussion. In also hearing some feedback from certain business leaders in town. As we know, the parcel tax on the warehouse community. So there's a certain rate for that group. And the revenue stream is about, I can't remember, $9 to $11 million.
Between 9 to 11.
Between $9 and $11 million. And we instituted a parcel tax on manufacturers and also cold storage utility. And that it was a smaller percentage.
Which is this tax here.
Which is this one that's going to sunset in 2023. And that one is projected, it collects about $2 million. So I just wonder, and this is just simply for discussion, is that, obviously there is a savings with going to LA County, about 10 million a year up until 2030 projected. I think what the business community appreciates is an equitable plan. And so nor am I in favor of tax increases or continued, but I understand that, what could the city look at if there was merit to maintain a parcel tax on the manufacturing community for a projected amount of time. What does that look like? And does it also look like it's implemented in a more equitable way to be equal to the parcel tax on warehousers? And then you have a parcel tax that is the same. Or, to Jack Klein has a different approach and is another alternative and suggestion of, is it symbolic and could it involve a decrease? I think just my input today is the appreciation for that you're presenting with transparency and willing and here to hear feedback from you want feedback. And I think the community really deserves or needs to give that feedback to the city. And so I think that I'm just presenting that part as far as a discussion to throw it out there. I don't have a solution. The chamber doesn't have a solution yet. We want to listen to everybody, potentially make a position to help the city, but or to advocate on the behalf of the business community. But that's just one thought I have in listening to manufacturers and warehousers that are looking for an equitable approach for everybody across the board.
So what I think you're saying is maybe go back and evaluate how the parcel tax and the public safety tax both work together and make it a more equitable solution for the community.
Yes. And then there's a collective, and what you presented today is a collective effort to identify green commerce or new commerce. Obviously, this community thrives on utility users and utility users that contribute to the city. So as you get this data center, as you get new customers, what does that tax structure truly look like for the legacy stakeholders that have been here for close to 100 years? How do we preserve manufacturing and this fantastic the economic benefits of living, of having a business here in Vernon. So I think you're definitely on the right track, and having this preliminary discussion is fantastic because you want that involvement. And I think that given your track record for stewardship and fiscal management in the city, I'm confident we're going to get there. It's just, we really need that involvement from all cross sections of the community to weigh in on this.
Okay.
On what a good plan would be.
And I truly appreciate that. And let me go back with staff and evaluate what we can do and how we can move forward. That's why we're doing it now, because we want ample time before we have to bring this up to the voters. Yes.
Good morning. I just wanted to go back for a second and thank the police chief for everything and for everything you've done for our company. We really appreciate it. We are on 52nd Street. We've been in Vernon for close to 40 years. We haven't had any major problem until about a couple of years ago. And we understand is the situation, is the COVID, is everything else that's going on. But talking to our neighbors, they have had the same problem as we had. And most of our problems started with Union Pacific abandoned railroads behind our property. These railroads are no more than 15, 17 feet wide, very long, from Santa Fe to Alameda. At night is totally dark. It's extremely dangerous for the police to go in there and try to catch people. And we've had, tens of break-in attempts to our property alone. And we've contacted Union Pacific. We said, this is your property. Please do something about it. They said, talk to your local police. And the local police comes 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. What do you expect them to do? To follow some people in the abandoned railroad is dangerous. And I actually asked the police, don't follow them. It's not worth it. Again, we've contacted Union Pacific for the past 2 years, and the Union Pacific says there is nothing verbatim. There is nothing you can do. You can go and sue us, but we are the biggest landlord in the country. You will not win. They pass us from one person to another person, to another person, to another person. And the person in charge of railroads in Southern California, his name is Daniel Park. And he says, we'll do something about it. Does nothing about it. So I am suggesting if City of Vernon could be kind enough to talk to Union Pacific and take over that property. It's abandoned. It has no use for anyone. There's nothing for, it has no use, not only for anyone, it's dangerous. I've seen drug deals going on behind our property. I've seen people dropping suitcases and another person changing money and the third person would come and pick it up. I've seen other things which I cannot mention here because we have ladies in here. And a lot of homeless is going there, a lot of tents, a lot of drinkings, breaking the glass. We've seen knife fights, actually knife fights in the afternoon between the gangs who want to put their insignia on the walls. We call them the insignia. All right. The guys with a bigger knife is putting the bigger graffitis, and the ones with the smaller knife have to put it underneath. This is ridiculous. We sent emails and talked to Union Pacific. I said, do somebody need to get killed for you guys to do something about it? And they totally ignored. So my suggestion, a humble suggestion, is to talk to Union Pacific saying, you're not using this. It's been empty for 50 years. It is nothing but problem. Let us take it over. And if you take it over, I'm willing to chip in, to put fences, to clean it up, to do whatever it takes. To grow trees, make it useful, make it nice. Thank you. And thank you, police.
Oh, my name's Mark. I'm with Independent Electric Vehicles. We too also have a railroad right-of-way that's been abandoned. My humble suggestion to the gentleman is you guys the police chief and the city manager to talk with Los Angeles County Weed Abatement to get the yards cleaned up, so at least you can see what's going on down there.
Yeah, we've worked alongside, we've had several different cleanups in Vernon in the recent months. But they continue it. The sad thing is that we clean them up, we clean it all out, and within a couple of days, they all move back in again.
Right, but my suggestion is Los Angeles County Weed Abatement, they have crews that can come out and clean those. And it's an annual thing that they do have to maintain weed-free property. And that would be more leverage than just an individual like our company or the gentleman's company.
Okay.
They do have enforcement powers.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay. I'm just gonna wrap this thing up and then I'll open it up again if you have any other comments and suggestions, but we're here to listen and take in what you're saying. So we'll definitely address that with staff, and then we'll try to get something out. We'll get something back to you. So if you could leave your contact information, and we'll let you know what's going on with that. Same thing with you, sir. We'll try to reach out to Union Pacific and see what we can do. Yeah.
If I can just add, call us out, the police department. We do work with our business partners, if you want to call them that, BNSF. It is difficult at times. They are a monster. They have maybe one officer that covers a very, very large region. But I will say this to their credit. When we as the police department have reached out to them to help us out, they respond very quickly. So if you're having difficulties with our homeless population hanging out on those sets of abandoned spurs or weeds or whatever, call us, call the police department. We'll come out and we'll reach out to our partners, and they've been pretty responsive of coming out and cleaning that up. Like the city administrator alluded to, they come back eventually. But if we can get rid of those weeds, they don't want to live there. They don't want to stay there because they like cover. They like shelter. They want to be able to hide from the police. So if we can work with you, partner with you, once that stuff starts growing, call us, let us be the ones that contact BNSF. We seem to have a really good working relationship with them now, and they're very responsive to us because they need us too. So we have a partnership with them. When something happens on the railroad tracks, if their rail cars are getting burglarized, stuff like that, they call us. Their dispatch center in San Bernardino calls us to respond. And we're the ones that respond. Our police department responds to take care of those issues. So because of that relationship, when we call them and say, hey, we need to get this cleaned up, they take care of it for us because we need each other, I guess is what I'm getting at. So please call us. You know, we're here for you. And I should introduce myself because obviously COVID shut us down for quite a while and we haven't been able to get out and greet and meet. And I'm waiting for the chamber to start doing those things at events, and I plan to attend all of them, or at least the ones I can make. But so my name is Robert Sosa. I've been police chief now about 10 months, but I've been with the city 25 years. So I know Vernon inside and out. I've patrolled these streets as a young policeman at the age of 21. So do the math. I've been here for a little bit. So I know where they hide. I know what they try to do. Now, with that being said, it is a different world than what it was when I started in 1997. It's a different world 2 years removed now because of COVID. And our department is facing those challenges, not only with police reform. Just last year alone, 6 different new laws were passed that are impacting the police department, just to give you an idea. But you know, outside of that, you see the political, landscape, you see the philosophical differences between us and maybe the LA County DA's office. Those are all challenges for the police department. So I'm saying all that to say this, the businesses are challenged, police department's challenged, but we can work together to solve our problem here in Vernon. And I'm committed to that. So whatever you need, call us, come see me. I'm always available. I love chit chatting. As you can notice, I'm European by descent, so I talk too much. So, but please reach out and let us work with you, and we'll be more than happy to bridge those gaps, those difficulties that you're having.
Okay, so in closing, I just want to let everybody know that we do have the Business Industry Commission. We're looking for community members or commission members to serve on some of these boards. So we're looking, next slide, please. The next one. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, you're on the right one. So we do have openings on the Business and Industry Commission. It does have 2 business representatives through 2026, 1 employee of labor representative through 2026, and 1 real estate representative through 2026. The other committees that we do have openings for are Community Fund Grant Committee. Same, they're all 2026. The Green Vernon Commission, and then also the Housing Commission. The Housing Commission basically oversees the housing stock of the city and serves on that board. In wrapping up, again, tomorrow will be the BIC meeting. And then our next breakfast with the businesses will be November 9th, 2022 at 8 a.m. We thank you for joining us here today. And those are some of the other things that will be happening here in Vernon. We have the West Side Specific Plan Scoping Meeting, which will be May 12th. The e-waste event, which will be May 12th from 10 to 2. Basically, if you have any computers, screens, stuff that has to be electronics that need to be thrown away, we do have a mechanism in place to take that waste and dispose of it. The Vernon Job Fair will be June 23rd from 9 to 1 here at City Hall. I'll open it up if anybody has any comments. Yes.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sheila Lopez, and I'm with Helping Hand Society of Los Angeles. We are a nonprofit here in Vernon. We are a food bank. We are helping people from all over, not only the city of Vernon, but from different cities. And I wanted to be a resource for all the businesses in Vernon. We do accept donations of any kind. Your donations are tax deductible. So if you guys would like to donate and help us with our mission, you can contact us, and then we have transportation for any kind of donation that you guys might have. And it's like I said, it's tax deductible. So I will leave my business card on the table and some flyers. We just want to be a resource for you. And if you guys want to help us with our mission, just donate or share our information. People can come and get food. We provide free of cost vegetables, dry food, and all kind of food. So we just want to be a resource for the city and for the businesses. Thank you so much.
Sorry, guys, but I'm Mark. I'm with Independent Electric Vehicles. We've had a couple of cities out visiting our cars. If you guys would like to come by, you're welcome to. We've had the city of Pasadena out looking at our car for police work or things of that nature. And you're all welcome to come see. We have a few vehicles you can look at. You can test drive. You can't test drive, I'm sorry, but you can look at them and view them. It's 100% electrical. Our vehicle is the only vehicle on the market with a supercomputer. We call it the DIC. And you're welcome to look at it. It's like a mobile command post for the police officers. You can, the OES system, you're welcome with the Office of Emergency Services. You guys probably have one here in the city. You can hook up to that and you can have complete communication with all agencies. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you for coming today. Again, if you have any issues, questions, concerns, comments, complaints, I'm always here. Just email me, see me at city administration, or give me a call. And again, issues that you're having with your businesses, just reach out to us. We'll work with you to try to come up with solutions. Okay. Thank you again for joining us. There's drinks, beverages, donuts, coffee, burritos. Have fun. Thank you for everybody that joined online. Were there any other comments online before we log off?
There are none. But
Okay.
again, as a final reminder, in case anyone has comments online, please use the raise hand feature.
Thank you again.
Please make sure you sign in. Contact information.